In today's video, you're going to get to see a beautiful 1960 Isetta. Hello everybody, welcome to Classic Car ChitChat. My name is Kevin. If this is the first time you're coming to my channel, then welcome. I really appreciate you being here today. If you've been to my channel before, then as always, welcome back. Thank you so much for the comments that you leave for me, for your thumbs up, for you subscribing to my channel, and also remembering to hit that notification bell so you know when the next video is being released. Today you're going to see perhaps one of the most unique cars. It's a 1960 Isetta. This beautiful car is owned by a gentleman. His name is Barry. This car was actually built in the UK. It was licensed by BMW and actually made for Canada or the North American market. The car is all original, including the paint and everything you see on it. It even has Lucas wiring harness too. So without further ado, let's hop in, let's go for a drive, and let's check out this beautiful 1960 Isetta. Unbelievable. Rev the engine for me. Oh boy, does it ever sound like a motorcycle, doesn't it? And honk the horn again. That is so cool. And the siren. Okay, turn her off. My Lord. Barry, this is something else.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
pretty
one of
cool.
these in years. Tell me what you have here.
So this is a 1960 Isetta.
1960.
It was built in Great Britain by Great Britain Isetta from the mid-50s until the early 60s. And they were licensed by BMW.
Wow.
And they didn't make too many for the Canadian market because it didn't go over very well.
So this is actually a left-hand drive as well.
Yeah, it was built for, it was bought new in Toronto.
Wow.
Yeah, it was made for the Canadian market. And they made them in several different plants, but this was made in Great Britain, so it has Lucas wiring, Girling brakes.
Oh my.
It's
Is this the original color, Barry?
It's the all original color. It's 95% original.
Wow.
The car was bought by a friend of mine. He was the original owner in Toronto in 1960. And he drove it for about 4 years, and then he moved out of the city and he parked it, and it sat for 57 years in his garage.
My Lord.
So it's only got 4,500 miles on it. So I did a mechanical restoration on it.
Now, did you do it yourself?
Yep.
Good for you.
Yep.
You know what? I always thought these cars had 3 wheels, one in the back, but actually 4 wheels.
And they did in Europe.
Oh, is that right?
More in England, because in England, what happened was you could get your motorbike license when you were 15 years old.
Yeah.
So what happened is when they brought these cars out as a 3-wheeler, it was licensed as a motorbike, so a 15-year-old could actually drive these and didn't get taxed on the road tax.
Amazing.
So they got a year early.
And it's actually got a sunroof too.
Yep. So that's your escape hatch. If you get in an accident, you can't get the front door
or if
open.
it rolls over or something silly like that.
The motor in it is it's a BMW 300cc 4-stroke. It's 13 horsepower. And they used to say that
13.
13 horsepower.
I think lawnmowers have more horsepower nowadays.
And they said they could get between 65 and 70 miles per gallon with the car.
Hey, you know what? That's pretty darn good, especially this day and age.
For the technology they had back then. It's very basic. No seat belts. There's not a lot of safety stuff in it, that's for sure.
I love the glove box.
Yeah.
Right there. Incredible. And the lever's all there. I mean, I noticed the heater,
it's a left-hand shift. There is a heater in it. I've taken the ductwork out because I'm not going to use it. It's just a forced air heater off of the engine. But you shift with your left hand, which takes a little bit of getting used to.
Oh yeah, and it's all reversed, isn't it?
The e-brake handle's called an umbrella e-brake because it's English.
Okay.
The German ones in the other cars, they had like a different lever on the side. It was that's different for an English-built car.
So this is actually a 4-speed transmission.
Yes.
Again, I'm surprised to hear that. I thought it was like maybe a 3-speed.
The early ones had 3-speed and no reverse because it had to sort of mandate with their motorbike stuff.
Yeah.
But when they got shipped out to other countries, they had to have 2 wheels in the back, 4 speeds, and a reverse. And this is your signal. You got to turn it on and off by hand.
And it won't switch off by itself.
No, everything's it's got a little switch on the wiper motor for the wipers, your headlight switch.
Oh my God.
You know, it's very basic.
1 speedometer.
Yeah, and it sort of reads backwards compared to a regular speedometer.
You know what? It's such a unique car. It turns heads.
Yes.
It always will.
Yes.
So the engine is back here.
Yeah, I can show you the engine.
So what? No automatic release, Barry?
No. They actually give you a little key. I don't have it with me, but back down here it is. They usually give you a little key on your key ring. I have it at home, but I have this in the glove box so no one can take your horse around with it and play with your spark.
Wow, look at this thing.
So these have doesn't have a starter motor. It's called a Dynastart. And in behind the flywheel, there's a big armature and brushes. So when you turn the key on, it basically turns it into an electric motor and turns the motor over and starts it. And then once it starts, it reverses and charges. And that's what they call it.
Pretty good technology,
yeah,
though.
That's what they call a Dynastart.
Very, very cool.
Yeah,
and both wheels are engaged.
Yeah,
at the same time,
it's got a solid drive axle in the back. It drives both wheels. 1 brake on the 1 back wheel, and the 2 front wheels have brakes, and the 1 brake on the 1 right rear wheel. That's it. They don't have.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
and these are what? 13 inch?
10 inch.
10 inch.
Yeah.
Are they hard to come by?
They are. They're starting to. They're getting very expensive. I've had some mini Austins before too, and it takes the same size tire. But yeah, you can get them.
This is cool. You know what I love about it is all the little scratches and whatever else. It gives
it's sat with stuff leaned up against it and stored inside of it, and it's you know what? A lot of people say, oh, you got to repaint it, and it's like no. It smells like an old car. Yeah. It looks like an old car. You can't replace that. It's like it's worth more to people to preserve it, and so they can see exactly what it was like.
Definitely.
You can make it pretty real quick, but
how much space is there in the back?
There's nothing underneath here.
Just engine.
So basically, you've got your gas tank.
Yep.
And then this is the air intake for the engine in here.
Right.
So you got a 3-gallon gas tank, and then underneath here is your engine, your air intake tube. There's not much room for anything else.
So your groceries go back there.
Yeah, and then like a motorbike, it's got your gas. You have to turn the gas on. There's on and reserve.
That's the switch.
So you got to make sure you shut it off when you're done. But you get when it's on, you get 2 gallons of gas.
Okay.
And then if you run low, you get over to reserve. You get another gallon to get you another 60 miles if you need to, right?
Look at this thing. And the wiper blade, just the one.
1 wiper, yeah.
That's about the size of the MG wiper blade, isn't
it? It's just a small plain little wiper blade.
In terms of some of the other features too, Barry, like the bumper in the front, that's again all original?
Yeah, everything's original. They changed the bumpers. Like when they came to Canada, they had to have the overriders on the back, and they had to have these, what you would call them, horns or bumpers on the front.
Okay.
In Europe and England, they just had sort of a finished little steel bumper. They didn't have these.
Nothing like this.
No.
Yeah. Mind you, it's not like it's going to save you any. But,
no, but the gentleman I got it off of, somebody hit the driver's side once with it, and it bent it in. I've straightened it out a little bit, but I think those handles are more for your buddies to pick the car up and turn around on you.
For sure, yeah. Look at the size of the lamps, though.
Yeah, that's different for Canada and England too. They're Lucas. So in Germany, the BMWs had a smaller headlight and they had Bosch wiring. So, but these had the big English bulbs in them, like the Lucas. So they were a little bit bigger. So that's another change.
She's absolutely lovely, though.
Yeah, and it's very simple though. I mean, it's you got like it's basic. The most basic. Basically, it's in between a car and a motorbike.
Yeah, it is.
You know, there's.
So where the hell is the horn then?
So that's the horn right there.
That is it, the black one. Okay.
That's the horn. Yeah.
And the siren?
I put it up underneath.
Ah, got it.
The kids get a kick out of that.
I do too.
Yeah.
Not just the kids. All right. This is such an amazing.
And it's a sliding window. I mean, they built some of the other Isettas that were called bubble cars too, and they had 3 windows on the side, and they didn't slide. There was different models. There was
Okay.
like a cabriolet, and they actually made like a little pickup truck one that had like a little square box on the back.
So why the Isetta though, Barry? Like, is there something about the car that always appealed to you? Like, did you go out and say, I'm going to get myself an Isetta when I grow up?
I've had probably 35 old cars over the years. I had Mini Austins, and I always liked different stuff. And the gentleman that owned this, I've known him for probably 35 years.
Yeah.
And I knew he had it, and I said, if you ever want to sell it, you keep me in mind. And he's getting up in years, and he's I keep in touch with him all the time. And he said, you know what, it's time to you and your son to come and get this car out.
Nice.
And I took it up to he couldn't come down to have a ride in it yet, but his wife just thought it was great because they used to drive it around Toronto.
For sure.
He drove it across Toronto on the 427 to work.
No way.
Yeah.
Really? I don't take my MG on any highway.
It's been driven one winter. When I pulled it out of the storage, it had snow tires in the back of it still. So
that's magical.
but yeah, it just, I was very lucky to get it. I mean, there's not too many left around, and I said
that's the exhaust right
yeah,
there?
it's got the exhaust on that side. There's a couple around that I know of. A friend of mine has one, but I was lucky to get it. It's nice to get it out in public again, though.
For sure. How many do you reckon actually made it to North America?
Well, when they built them they built them in Brighton, England, in the old locomotive factory.
Okay.
And they were bringing them into Canada, and they didn't bring that many in, and it didn't go over very well. And him and his buddy bought these. They were about $980 new.
Right.
And yeah, in our climate, like the Mini Austin came out. That's what killed these cars. The Mini came out, had more room, had a 4-cylinder, had a proper
four
heater,
regular wheels,
had a trunk.
Yeah.
So these didn't do well here. That's why they didn't sell that many. There was a rumor that Canada Post ordered a bunch of these for Toronto for delivering mail. Apparently it was like, I don't know, 80 of them or 100 or something.
Okay.
And they got the shipment in, and I guess somebody got in big trouble. It didn't go very well. So what happened was a lot of these didn't get sold. They got shipped back to UK.
No way.
And they got converted to 3-wheelers. Because some of the guys that are restoring them in the UK,
yes.
they see that things have been welded and changed.
Yes, modified to
And they
back
find
to
out
3
that
wheels.
it actually was a Canadian car that got shipped back. And they modified them for their so they can get the road tax in the UK.
It's such a unique and cool car though,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. It
Very,
gets a lot of
very
looks.
different.
I've had more fun actually. I've had, like I say, I have my other car, and I've had a lot of old muscle cars, but these little cars attract so much attention because people are so curious.
Definitely.
You know, it's part of history.
And it's not something you see every day. And they're not your typical belly button car,
No,
as
no.
Doug Ellis might say. Yet it looks like a belly button.
Yeah, they're bringing out, there's two new cars coming out that are almost identical to this. One's called a Microlino.
Okay.
It's electric, it's made in Sweden.
Yeah.
They just launched that, and there's another one in Germany, and it's a splitting image of this car, but it's electric.
Really?
So it's the old story of what's...
Same wheelbase, same idea?
It's very similar.
Okay.
It's the old story of what's old is new again, right?
Yeah.
Like it's funny how it turns around and comes back.
It's that retro look to it.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a bit of an appeal, right? For
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. So
I love it.
It'll be interesting to see if they get brought. I put my name on a waiting list if they come into Canada. I don't know if they ever will or not, depending on, because it's not a car. They're classifying it as a scooter again. Like
Scooter, okay.
They're getting around that gray area. So we'll have to see if we can get them in Canada or not.
I wonder if you get an e-bike license on that too. Time will tell.
Yeah, you never know, right? You just might.
This is amazing.
Down.
Can we go for a quick
That's the easiest way to get in. You just
So
do
you
it. And
do
then
the swoop.
Yep.
Oh, look how gracefully you did that. Okay, watch me do it like an idiot. All right, here we go. Oh, this is quite fun. Okay, all righty. Oh, it's kind of comfortable.
That's not bad.
I like the upholstery.
I'm 6'2", and I mean I had a guy that was 6'4" in a car show on the weekend, and he fit in it. So, all right.
Okay, so what's this lever? Is that to fix that in?
That's to fold the sunroof back. Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually a lock.
Yeah, it's got a lock.
Wow.
Yeah. There's your high and low beam switch.
Got it.
Sometimes you'll whack that with your hand at nighttime when you're shifting because you got big hands.
So you got enough space there to shift
Yeah,
the gears
it
as well?
reverses a little tight to get into. It's
Oh, you got to get used to that first gear being down there.
Well, there's no synchros in this transmission, so you got to really be careful when you're shifting. You gotta sort of double clutch and get the RPMs just right.
Amazing. Have you ever kind of taken a corner a little bit too fast on this, Barry? Or
I've taken it fast. It doesn't tip.
It doesn't tip.
You know, because it's a four-wheeler.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's very stable. It's you'd have to really be going fast to have a problem.
It reminds me
the
of
three-wheelers. You'd have a problem.
They do. Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Famously hates the three-wheelers, right?
Yeah, the Reliant Robin.
Reliant Robin. Yes.
I had a Bond Bug.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was on that chassis. Yeah, I had one of those.
But you know what? It's lovely though. It kind of sounds.
Turn the signal on by hand and remember to turn it off. Yeah, you know
very
what?
Very motorcyclish.
You know what? If you think about riding a motorbike and you got into this, and you're out of the weather, I mean, it's a lot better than a motorbike in the cold weather, right?
And a little bit safer too.
Yeah.
In an accident.
Yeah. At least you got something in front of you.
And the horn button is the thing in the middle. Wow. Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah. My daughter calls it tin because it's so tinny and rattly inside, but there's not much insulation in it, right?
No.
So, but it's
kind of nice though.
Yeah, that's third. You get fourth. It'll do 40 miles an hour comfortably.
Right.
But you get over 45, 50, it's revving pretty good. I mean, it can do it, but it's not happy there. It's more or less for the in-town.
Yeah, a little scoot around, pick up a few well, not that much groceries, but a few items.
Yeah, a lot of people put the little chrome luggage rack on the outside at the back, and you can put your chairs or you can put some stuff in the back.
Yes, yes.
But it doesn't ride. I mean,
it's actually pretty nice.
You put 400. You can really notice when you get two people in it going up the road, though.
Yes.
It loses a little bit of power, and you see a hill coming, you got to dig gear down, right?
Right on. You just got to plan ahead for these things.
You got to plan ahead with everything.
Yeah.
Because
even the braking.
Yeah. The brakes work really good on this.
Okay.
The brakes are no problem. It's just the.
So again, it's the front left and the rear right.
Both fronts.
Oh, both
and
fronts.
The right rear has juice brakes on it.
And just a drum brake.
Yep, they're drum brakes. And then, like I say, there's no synchro, so you gotta get the RPM just right. It's a little finicky sometimes, but that's old cars.
You've mastered it though.
I put about 300 miles onto this spring, and I got pretty good at it. But it's not bad.
Of course, I'm saying that. Next thing you're gonna stall.
I'll start grinding that.
Wow. This is really a fun car though.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's amazing. You get the people looking at it, and it's like
for the first time.
Don't know
what the hell is this?
They don't know what it is.
Nobody does.
They don't know if it's new, if it's old. They see all the scuffs. They obviously think it's old, but I think for all the cars I've had over the years, I've had minis. I've had a lot of fun with minis. I've had that Bond Bug. I've had a lot of muscle cars, but I think this car, so far, just from this spring, I've had more people tell me stories and smile when they see it. You'd be driving on the road and they'll just stop and they'll just start smiling and laughing.
Right on.
And
you know what? That's half the joy, isn't it?
Oh, it
is. Classic car.
Oh yeah, you get to share it with people too, right?
Oh, definitely.
It's part of history.
Yeah.
That people don't know about.
And I think they respect people like you.
Well,
we're keeping it alive.
We're caretakers, right?
Yep, absolutely.
You know, the next group of people, like at car shows, there's a lot of people that don't want anybody going near their car, which is fine.
Yep.
But I like to share the stuff with people. The kids, they get
Love
the show.
to climb in and
I've had more kids in this thing in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Get in it, have a look. They just think it's, but you instill that in them, and then when they get older, they think, oh, that's pretty cool. Like you get it in their blood when they're early, and maybe they'll be caretakers of the cars.
So you're obviously a car guy, Barry. What was the very first car you bought? Do you remember?
The very first car I got was a '69 Dodge Polara. And I lived out in the country, and I cut the neighbor's grass with my dad's lawnmower tractor. And I worked all summer, and he gave me the car.
Wow.
So I spent the next summer fixing it up, and I drove it for a bit. So that was my first one. But I've had probably... I have a book at home of all the cars that I've had, all my cars. My son asked me about it. I've had 85 cars.
Bloody hell, okay.
I'm 57, I've had 85 cars in my life so far, but old cars I've probably had 30. Because I used to buy them years ago before the internet. I'd go and get the Auto Trader.
Oh, remember those days, those physical
Triad
books?
and the Auto Trader, my buddy, we go to the coffee shop Friday night, we go through it.
Yeah.
There's one. We go out
That's a
and
new
we
one. I
go,
haven't seen that one before.
and we go out when it's dark out, and the people go, "It's dark out." No, we're coming to look at it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we
yeah.
buy the car, take it home, we'd fix it up, and we'd sell it, drive it a bit, sell it, make it a bit more, find a nicer one, you know. So it was like
Keep going.
yeah.
It's a passion and a
It is.
hobby, and it's
Oh,
just
oh
fun.
yeah. So you got to make sure you shut the gas off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you always shut the gas
Otherwise,
off.
what? You're gonna
It'll drip.
Ah.
It's because it's just a float, and you just let it run
So
for
it's
a
just a
bit.
gravity-fed
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
So it's a safety thing. You don't want the gas
Very
coming
cool.
out. And that's your headlight switch there. But yeah, it's very simple. I mean, it's
really nice though.
you know, it doesn't drive bad for it weighs 780 pounds. You know, so
It's
I mean,
priceless.
but the biggest thing is with the people is the door, how the door opens up. You know, like
Straight out.
How do you
and
even-
look, even the way that kind of leans forward.
yeah, you got to be careful when you grease your joint down here. You
Oh,
wipe
yes.
it off, or you'll get your shoes and your pants all
Yeah,
dirty.
You've done that once, haven't you?
Yeah,
I like this too. How they just kind of little cut
yeah.
out
It's
there
just
and-
cardboard.
yeah,
It's simple.
you don't need any. I love the upholstery.
I did that.
Did you do that?
Yeah,
Say,
the
very
original
nice.
seat,
Yeah.
it just fell apart because the bugs got into it.
What was it? Vinyl?
No, it was like this. The
Oh,
original
cloth.
material was a plaid, green plaid, but it
Yeah.
didn't have red in it. But we found this at Fabricland. You can order new seat covers,
Right.
but I wanted to do it myself and
For
try
sure.
it, and it's fine.
It looks great.
Yeah,
And
that's
this-
the original format.
Really?
Yep, it's
Since
original.
1960.
Yep.
We're stepping on history,
Yep.
if you will.
Yeah, it's original format. That's never been changed. Basically, it's 95%. I tried to leave as much as I could original
Yes.
and safe, right? But
The glove box kills me. I love it.
yeah. But it's and underneath the seat is a battery. Now with the battery under the seat, I made a wooden box because the newer batteries are bigger, and the problem is they used to catch fire. People would.
How do you get out gracefully? What I'm doing?
Yeah,
whatever.
there
we go.
There's no real
Oh
grace.
yeah.
So underneath the seat of these cars, the battery is underneath here.
Oh yes.
I have a
see.
battery shut off and the master cylinder. But what used to happen is the battery cables, if they didn't get covered, the seat springs would go down and short out and they catch fire.
Oh shit.
So,
Okay.
so I put a wooden box around it and with a rubber
Just to
because the batteries
protect
are a
it.
little bigger now.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing they used to have a problem with. They'd short out and.
And that was a 6-volt battery on this.
12 volt.
12 volt.
Yep,
Okay.
12 volt. Yep, they're 12 volts. So you gotta, and there's the plate. It was built in Brighton, England.
Yes,
it's
I
got the
saw that
chassis
one.
number on it.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, and
love
then they also stamp the chassis number on the right on the frame rail, right here. There's a it's hard to see, but that's another chassis number. So I have the original engine, chassis number, and body number.
Oh, I
Everything
see-
matches.
I see some
It's very hard to
markings
see.
there,
Yeah.
yes.
So everything matches on the car.
Incredible.
Yeah.
She's
so it's
beautiful,
like a,
Barry.
Thank you. It's like a time capsule.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think it's just amazing that you keep her spirit alive every time you drive her, take her out.
Oh
and,
yeah. Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
And you share it with everybody, right?
You do.
Yeah.
And it's so unique and rare.
Yep, it is. I'm not sure how many are left, but I know of in Ontario. I know of about 5 that are on some of the forums and stuff, but there's not too many.
Is there actually a big following for these things globally?
There is. They're
Yeah.
very collectible. They're very sought after. Every big car collection, most guys want one in their collection.
Yeah.
Like they had the Messerschmitts, the Henkels.
Does Jay Leno have one of these things?
Probably.
Yeah, probably
I-
got 3 of them.
I would think, yeah.
Wow.
He may have, but the only thing I added to it was the rear view, the side mirror. I went to my buddy's hot rod shop and I put that little peekaboo mirror on there.
It wasn't there before.
It's an option. It never came with it.
So you just poke your head out to have a look, or you turn your
Yeah,
neck
so I
the
bought that
old-fashioned
little
way?
mirror and I just put it on the pinch weld.
I like it.
Yeah, it works.
It gives it character.
Yeah, and it sort of looks like it's supposed
It
to
looks
be there.
like it belongs,
Yeah,
right?
but the only options you could get were you could get a radio,
Yeah.
you could get visors and a side mirror and a luggage rack. I think that, and then on the side they had like a little chrome mud flap on behind the front wheels. That's about the only options you could get on these cars.
Oh, I noticed. Now you say that there is no visor, so that was an
No.
optional extra.
Yep, yep.
Wow.
And two-tone paint was an option too.
Wow.
This car was about as basic as you could get. Like
Yeah.
there was nothing on
The
it.
base model.
Yeah, there was nothing on it. It was
So nice.
It was just one color.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure the name of the color. I've gone through the charts. There's a couple of colors, but there's not a lot of history on the British built cars. They didn't keep numbers of where they went. The BMW German ones, they kept good records where they were made, where they were shipped, who owned them. But these cars, there was never much paperwork on them. So
Incredible.
the British Club of England, they have a lot of information they've gave me, but I mean it's pretty vague how many were shipped to Canada. There's probably not too many.
That's awesome, though.
And especially with our climate, they'd rot.
You know, I'm so glad I bumped into you that day, because
Oh,
we would
yes.
never had this little chat, and I didn't even see the car then. You mentioned her.
Well, I saw you because.
So Barry,
Marnie had.
I gotta say thank you. This has been a real thrill, and it definitely brings a smile to your face. It brings one to mine for sure. Thank you again for your time.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it. It was a fun day.
I
and
appreciate it.
hope to see you again.
Definitely.